Hi there, it's Madison James, and you all know these ladies are so important to me. Breast cancer is very, very important to me, and bringing awareness is also super important. So, October is Breast Cancer Awareness Month, and all month long, we are shining a spotlight on personal stories right here in the Charlotte area. And I'm so happy to have with me today Charmaine, who's from via Trinidadian, via Brooklyn, New York, and lives right here now in Charlotte. She is a three-time, not one, not two, but three-time breast cancer thriver. She's got metastatic breast cancer. And Charmaine, how you doing, girl? You always smiling. I love it.
I am doing well. I am truly blessed. I don't have any complaints at all. Thanks for asking. How about yourself, sweetheart?
I'm doing good, and I appreciate you sharing your story as we spotlight on personal journeys because I know your journey is going to help someone. So, give us a little backstory on your breast cancer journey.
Well, it all began in 2012, where I saw some change in my left breast. Never in a million years did I think it was breast cancer. I actually had just returned back from a trip where I like to tan. So, and then, for the holidays, this was back home in New York. I used to work between New York and Charlotte. I just saw a change in my left breast. So then it was kind of, hot to touch. It was very itchy because when you think breast cancer, now that I know, you always think of a lump that you might feel
Right.
in a self-examination. But fast forward, I returned back home after the holidays done went by, Thanksgiving, Christmas, my birthday, got back to Charlotte because I know it was up for my annual mammogram and
Hmm.
also my annual physical. And that's where it all began for me, January 10th of 2013. I was, they got a referral from my primary care doctor for a mammogram. That day that I went on my mammogram, which was the week after, which was on the 15th, a few days after that, several days later,
Hmm.
it all began there. I went in for my mammogram that same day. They did an ultrasound. From there, they told me to have a seat.
Oh
Came back
wow!
in
So yours was that quickly during the ultrasound they already saw something was
something.
different.
And I
Okay.
already knew that something was wrong, but I still wasn't
Okay.
sure what. And then I was approached and was told that, Charmaine, Miss Tyson, I'm sorry to say, but you have breast cancer and we need for you to come back like today for a biopsy. And actually,
Did
my
they?
mom was with me.
Uh-huh. Did they say what stage was that,
They
or
did not know yet
they did
because
not know yet?
they just
How was that? I'm sorry. How was that sitting in there and getting that news? You know what I mean? Because you're probably thinking they're going to come back. You know something was wrong, but not you. You didn't go in there with that, and I can kind of relate because I had some questionable mammograms, and then they did the ultrasound. It's just, and I thought about you all. I thought about my ladies, and so I'm sitting there going like, oh
Mhm.
my gosh, I'm waiting for them to read it.
Uh-huh.
What are they? Because you know what I mean. They kept progressing. So what was that like for you in that moment?
Well,
And
I
when they
was in
came back
shock.
with the news,
I
yeah.
was in shock because I didn't know where I was going to go with it. Because in my mind, I'm like, well, how could this be? Are you sure about that? Because I was kind of naive about the situation. When you hear about it, you always think it's something that's hereditary,
True.
genetic, and and I was in my mind, I was just all over the place. I'm like, well, there's no one in my family have this. How could they? Why are they telling me I have breast cancer? So again, I didn't know what to go. I heard the word biopsy, but I didn't know what that actually meant. So
Okay.
then when they actually when they told me to get dressed, they was like, so I'm gonna say it was like around noon after the mammogram and ultrasound. They told me to come back like around 3 o'clock that same day,
Oh
and
wow.
dressed, and just tears just started flowing because
It, understandable because that's a lot.
hmm so then, my mom was sitting in the waiting room and she already knew something was wrong because I was back there longer than normal because she was seeing other patients coming in and out, with smiles on their face. And when she saw me, she knew something. So we were in a moment of silence. So then she was like, Shar, what's next? And I said, well, they want me to come back today for a biopsy. And then she said, okay. Fast forward, came back, we did the biopsy, in-house in the doctor's office. And then for the next week, it just ran from there. So at that point, I was assigned to a nurse navigator. So all my doctors are through the hospital system I was using, which is Novant. And I sat with the nurse navigator, and that's when she asked me to bring family members to come, to be my set of ears so she could tell me
Mm-hmm.
exactly what I was about to face. And that was on January the 21st. And that's where I was told I had stage 2 breast cancer, start for
Mm-hmm.
years, that I needed to go for a PET scan, additional testing. The type of breast cancer from the biopsy was called inflammatory breast cancer, which was a very
Okay.
aggressive kind. I wouldn't have known about that type until it actually came to the surface, like the symptoms, like what I had: hot to touch, redness,
Oh,
itch.
wow.
Yes. So then from there, the few days later, I went for a whole full body scan, and then thinking I'm still stage 2, because by that time I'm on the internet looking to see what that meant,
You're
the type
Googling.
of cancer, even though it was scaring me half to death.
Yeah.
And then after I had that ultrasound done, so that was going over into the first week of July now. Well, not ultrasound, it was the actual PET scan. And they told me that they saw a spot on my liver.
Oh, goodness.
So with that being said, I'm like, what do that mean? They said, well, now you're no longer stage 2, you're stage 4. And of course, again, in utter disbelief, I just knew that, okay, how could this be? I just had a mammogram the year before. You know, how did it just happen within the 12 months? What does this come from? And I just thought my whole world was ended, at that point. So
And
I
this is your first. This is your first go around
first
because you did not
initial.
one. Yeah, not one, not two, but three. So what was the difference in one and then you thinking you're good to go and then we about to do this the third time? Like, what are
So
we doing here?
So initially, from stage 1, from the first initial diagnosis in 2013, I went from a stage 2 to 4. At that point, I went through chemo, no radiation. I had surgery, reconstructive surgery, and at that point, when I figured out, because at that time, I thought that it was just the end for me. That, like, God, why? You know, I just knew that my days were numbered. But no, when I was affiliated, then I was referred to Carolina Breast Friends, right? Because
Yes, yes.
I that's some we're not even getting to stage 2 and 3. I mean, my second diagnosis or third diagnosis yet. This is still all going on in year 1 of 2013, the whole journey. So with that being said, I walked through the doors of Carolina Breast Friends, where I am now. I
Yes, we'll
met.
get to that. We'll get
Okay,
to that. We'll get
okay,
to that.
all right.
But no, I meant like you walk through the door for an organization seeking help, and that's right here in Charlotte,
Mhm.
Carolina Breast Friends, also known as the Pink House.
The Pink House.
All the ladies call it the Pink House,
Yes.
and it's helped so many women. And you walked in as a person receiving help, like probably looking for your tribe, looking for people to make some sense out of all this stuff that just hit you, really in a short amount of time, because you thinking like, okay, breast cancer, this is what I'm gathering. Say, okay, I'm going to fight it. We're in, but then it's like, oh no, it's a little bit more because there's different stages to this, and that was 10 years ago. If you
10
really
years
like
ago.
10 years ago, and you thought, man, it's over for me, and now
I
we're
thought
ten
so.
years, we're 10 years in, you're metastatic, and you thriving. You all don't know Charmaine is life of a party. She is thriving, living her life. So how did you make the transition to go, you know what? Now I want to help ladies navigate. I want to help ladies in that space because I know exactly how it feels.
hmm So after my first diagnosis, I felt alone, because even though I had lots of love and support from my family and friends near and far, but, and family and friends meant well. They were, doing research for me, asking me questions that I couldn't really understand or answer, barely pronounce the words that it was throwing at me about my own diagnosis. So, I said, okay, I don't know anyone where I'm gonna turn to. Everything that I did on research on the internet scared me half to death. I said, I need to talk to some real life situations, because with the diagnosis that I received, I just thought that, okay, it's over for me. But then that's when 10 years ago I walked through the pink house and I felt not alone any longer because I met women like myself of all ethnic
That's
backgrounds,
amazing.
all ages, even younger than me at the time, who had the same type of breast cancer I had and who has been on the journey even years before I even got diagnosed. So that's from there when I said, okay, you got this, you
Love it.
got this, you're going to beat this, and you're going to keep moving. So then that's when I became very instrumental in the organization. So then here I am going, I did my treatment, my surgeries, I'm thriving, I'm cancer free. Then as a metastatic breast cancer survivor, you go for routine scans. So that's the advantage that one who is advanced, they go for routine scans. So God forbid if anything comes up, they will be able to detect it early. So that's where I had my second diagnosis 3 years later. That's how when I went for a scan, they found that out. Mm-hmm.
And then the same with the third
The third
diagnosis.
time, and that was just recently in 2021. Mm-hmm. It was through a routine PET scan.
And you've said something very different. Like, so your story is going to help touch someone. Can you talk about that? Because when we start talking like stage 4, it scares people. Unfortunately, there's all stages from 0. There's 1, there's 2, there's 3, there's 4, and then there's the inevitable. But talk. You put a positive spin on it. Like,
Mm-hmm.
yes, I am stage 4 metastatic, but here's the best part. I'm
Mm-hmm.
constantly getting screened so I can be on top of this as much as possible instead of going long periods and then the battle, it becomes a little bit more difficult, more
That's correct.
challenging.
That's correct. Yes. So, unlike other ladies or men who have been diagnosed with breast cancer, when they are stage 0 to 3, they go through their journeys, whatever their regimen is, they take one day at a time. And then once they're done and they're cancer free and they ring that bell, it's that's it. There's no more routine scans for them. But when you're initially diagnosed, unless later on, if they, have a recurrence, then they go for the routine scans. But initially, I went from a 2 to 4. So with that being said, as a metastatic breast cancer thriver, part of my care is to be one on lifelong maintenance, which I do hormonal therapy because the type of breast cancer I have also is hormone driven. I am triple positive, meaning I'm HER2 ERPR positive, and also it's just put me right into menopause, and so it's hormone driven. So I have lifelong hormonal therapy that I'm doing along with a couple of pills that I take just to help control what's going on in my body. So that's the blessing. And then on top of it, with the routine scans, they are able to detect anything that comes without me having to have some type of side effect like of an ache or pain, and then they send me for a scan. So that is the difference. And then when I was told I was stage 4, like I said, when you hear about stage 4 in cancers, you think it's the final. But then I had to learn, I learned a lot coming to the Pink House, attending the programs and meeting other thrivers who were advanced like me, who at that time was 5, 10, 15 years out. Is this that they said, no, not in breast cancer. You can live a long, productive life. And when I found that out, so that's where I said, because I'm a positive person anyway. So
You
that's where I
are.
said, okay, God ain't through with me yet. I'm a, live every day like it's my last. And then I want to give back and inspire women to let them know that, is I mean, that to let them know that there's a way and they could continue to live their life. So I want to encourage and inspire, and whoever asks me, no matter what stage we are, because it's a girls' club we don't want to
Yep.
belong to, no sorority. But however, no matter what stage it is, everybody handle things differently, mentally and emotionally. But I just want to be that living testimony, because sometimes they always, not sometimes, all the time, they say, girl, you don't look like what you've been through. How do you always just stay so bubbly? I said, that's
And
just
that's why we're spotlighting everyone's journey, because a lot of ladies that we're spotlighting this month, when everyone sees you all, look, you got your hair, you understand what I'm saying? Because people are like, wait a minute, people walking around, you don't know what someone's going through. You don't know what their journey is. But can you touch a little bit on the Pink House and how people can find you or how they can reach out, because
Mhm.
you're helping a lot of women here in the
Yes.
Charlotte area
Yes.
navigate, and that's amazing. That's what's so amazing, because you're like, you came in as a recipient and
Yep.
now you're helping others. You
Yes.
probably never ever thought it was going to play out that way. I know
That's
when
correct.
acting with that first day in that doctor's office, you probably never thought it would be like,
I would have never thought I would be here 10 years out and still counting with no evidence of disease in my body. So I am actually cancer free, living
well,
with advanced.
that's amazing. So, how do people find you or reach out to you or learn more about the Pink House here in
Okay,
Charlotte?
so so we work very closely with Atrium Levine Cancer Institute and also Novant. We work closely with the nurse navigators and the physicians and plastic surgeons and oncologists. So what we do is once they refer them to us, they can find us at www.carolinabreastfriends.org. And, or they could search us, Google searches, and it will pop up. We are here to serve the breast cancer community in a positive environment. We are a nonprofit where we are here to encourage and support and to let the ladies know that they're not alone. We offer at least over 30 programs each month, anywhere from educational, nutritional. We have our support groups. We have our young survivors group and all age group. We have well-being services such as Heal and Touch, oncology massage classes, yoga, and so on. And then on top of that, we have an excellent mentoring program. Our mentoring program is a group of ladies who have been on the journey that our newly diagnosed ladies have been or is about to face. I actually was paired with a mentor myself, because even though, like I said, I had all the love and support, but being matched with the mentor kind of saved me, because that or woman becomes your pink sister, your best friend. She's there to answer any questions that you might have. So to help you ease whatever anxiety that you might have about you about to face. We also have we provide hats, wigs, and scarves free of charge. We also have our prostheses and mastectomy bras for the ladies who opt to not have reconstructive surgery. And it doesn't matter if one has insurance or no insurance or underinsured. We don't go about that. We want them to walk through these doors feeling like, because they come in one way, but they always leave out another way, because sometimes they don't know what to expect. And when they come through these doors, it's like home away from home. It's a sigh of relief. We have our beautiful Pink House Boutique here. We have an amazing staff that are here to help serve our ladies as well. And then not only am I the operations manager, it's just not a job for me. I walk the walk, so I completely understand.
I love it, and we're going to end with that. You walk the walk. I'm a little biased because I'm like, girl, come on. And I appreciate you, Charmaine, for sharing your story. And I know it's going to help someone go, wait a minute, I'm not by myself.
You're not
And
by yourself.
and I thought it was going to be one way, but now I see my chapters don't end. They're going to keep going and going.
Yes,
So thank
yes.
you so much, Charmaine, from right here in Charlotte. And we'll put that information at the bottom where you can reach out to the Pink House here in Charlotte. And they're helping so many amazing women. And your story is amazing. And we will get together. Everybody, I'm going to get the whole crew together next month. So we're going to do what we do. Thank you so much, Charmaine, for checking in.
And thank you for having me.
Yes, 100%. Thank
Okay.
you so much for checking out Charmaine's story with our Shine a Spotlight on Pink.